Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Odd Vlog. And it's been a while since we've done one of these. I can't even remember which number this is, but welcome back. And the reason that prompted this episode is because last weekend was the Star Wars celebration of 2019 in Chicago. And there was just so much stuff that came out of that really we just wanted to do a video and just kind of let you guys know what the latest news was. We're just going to touch on it very briefly, a lot of things in this, and then we're going to do some more videos after this, which basically will kind of focus on a few more things in detail. So we're just going to run through a few of the panels that they did and what the most kind of exciting highlights were. And then coming up, we're going to do a video on the episode 9 trailer that came out and the title as well. Just kind of give you a bit of a rough idea as to maybe some of the theories that have come out for that. We're also going to be talking about Galaxy's Edge, because that was a huge deal for me, and really exciting stuff that we saw coming out of the panel that was there for Galaxy's Edge, and certainly I can't wait to go. We are probably like 6-8 weeks, something like that, until Galaxy's Edge in California is going to open up. So it's getting closer, so we'll be talking about that. And we're also going to talk about the Mandalorian as well, which is going to be coming to Disney Plus, and we'll talk a little bit about Disney Plus too. So those are kind of the 3 topics we're going to cover in more detail separately. So we're just going to kind of run through what was said really and what was done. And it all really kicked off when I started watching it, was when Billy D. Williams was on the stage, and they were just kind of running through his experience with the new episode 9 film, and it kind of just snowballed from there really. So then out came all of the cast. And then it wasn't long before we actually got to see, it's not really a trailer, it's more of like a kind of, well, not a sneak peek, but you know what I mean, it's like a teaser, and it was amazing. It's really good. There's so many things really that you could take out of it. There's so many tiny bits of detail that have everybody questioning absolutely everything, but the title itself, The Rise of Skywalker, even that leads to a lot of questions really about what's going to happen, not just in the film, but where it's going to lead to in the future. This is supposed to be the end of the Skywalker saga, but the title doesn't really suggest that it is. So there's going to be a lot of theories in that, and we're going to touch on that in a later video. And I'm doing a bit of a collab with somebody as well, so we'll see what theories we can come up with for that. We got to see some new characters as well, so Dio was one, and of course at the end of the trailer what we saw was, whatever it is, we saw the cackle of the Emperor, the laugh, the return presumably of the Emperor, of Palpatine. So that was really cool. What we also got to see quite a lot in the panel, something that really stood out for me, was Finn Poe, where there's this kind of bit of a relationship between Finn and Poe. And one thing I will say is that Finn seems to be in like a kind of love hexagon, pentagon. It's more than just a triangle, it's bigger than that. But he's obviously building up a lot of relationships with a lot of different characters, and yeah, Finn Poe's definitely one, which is really cool. So yeah, we'll touch on that in the next video. We also got to have a look at Vader Immortal, which is basically a new virtual reality experience, which is coming to Oculus Quest. Now, I don't know a lot about this, but it looks very cool, and it is essentially, yeah, just a virtual reality experience where you're, I don't know, having laser fights and lightsaber battles and that kind of stuff, but in virtual reality. So it looks really cool, but I don't know a lot of detail about that. But if you can check it out, please do, because it's definitely looks impressive, that's for sure. The big one, as I said, for me, Galaxy's Edge. There was a massive panel about that. Basically, the whole of my Saturday was taking up waiting and watching and really kind of trying to take it all in, really. There's an amazing video that came out of just some of the scenery and some of the things that are in there, with an amazing score from John Williams that he's actually put together specifically for Galaxy's Edge. It's on my Twitter page, so if you can find it, have a look at it. It's well worth watching, just to get a kind of feel of it and what Galaxy's Edge is going to be like, and I think it's going to be amazing. We saw tons of new merchandise, a whole load of new products that we haven't seen before are going to be coming. We also got to see the new lightsaber, the build your own lightsabers that you can do. Again, I'll touch on that in more detail when I do the actual Galaxy's Edge video shortly, but we'll be talking about the sabers because they're really kind of a big deal. It looks very impressive, it's very cool, so we'll be commenting on that. And we don't really have that long to go now. 31st of May is when the first Galaxy's Edge is going to open in California, and yeah, we'll wait and see what happens on that. So we'll touch on that in more detail. As I say, there's a lot of in-universe experience that have been added in there, with obviously the app that's going to be fully interactive with a lot of different things in Batu. And also we had something that I knew was going to be controversial the second that they did it, which is kind of the soda reveal, where Coca-Cola are going to be selling their products within Galaxy's Edge, but for through very heavily themed, I will say, kind of products, and it looks really, really cool. But I knew it was going to stir up a few things with a lot of hardcore Disney fans, so we'll come on to that in the next video. We also saw Fallen Order, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, the new game that's coming out. It's a single-player story-based game, and I know that some people weren't actually happy about that. They wanted it to be more of an interactive thing where you could kind of adjust the character to what you wanted to do. You wanted to personalize it and maybe have more of an open world experience. Well, it's definitely not going to be that. There's no microtransactions. You're playing a character called Cal, and it's entirely story based. So it's not going to be the kind of thing where, like with Battlefront, you can kind of edit things and kind of create characters and costume them and do different things. It's not going to be like that at all. It has much more, I thought, of a kind of Force Unleashed vibe to it, where you are following a story through and you're playing as that character and you're following him along. It's not going to be, I suppose, an immersive thing, but it's going to be very good, I think, because obviously the story is still going to be good. So yeah, that's worth checking out, I think, and that'll be coming soon. But one of the bigger things, the third video I'm going to make separately, is going to be about the Mandalorian. This was a huge thing. It's obviously a live action series which is being done by Jon Favreau and is going to be coming to Disney Plus hopefully at the end of the year. We don't know a lot. We haven't seen a massive amount. There are leaked videos on YouTube of what the trailer, the sneak peek was, that the audience at Star Wars Celebration got to see. It is out there, and it does look pretty cool, actually, I have to say. It's I think it ticks all the boxes really for being a really cool series. So yeah, we're going to touch on that separately in a bit. And then just a couple of other things that really kind of stood out for me is, first of all, it's been 20 years since the Phantom Menace. I mean, seriously, 20 years? I'm getting old, and I can't believe it's been that long. Phantom Menace, love it or hate it, but it's part of the story, it's part of the canon, and it's okay. Phantom Menace himself as a character, Darth Maul, I think, was ridiculously underused, and I quite like the idea of him coming up in future films, which Solo kind of hinted at might happen. So yeah, 20 years since the Phantom Menace, if you can believe that. Wow. That's crazy. And also 20 years since I started doing Star Wars Celebration, so there was a massive, great big thing about this. If you go on to the Star Wars Twitter page or the YouTube channel, just have a look at some of the things they did to celebrate that, because it's very cool and well worth checking out if you're a Star Wars fan. So before we come on to these separate 3 videos on Episode 9, on Galaxy's Edge and The Mandalorian, we'll just leave you with this, because at the end of a lot of the footage that we've seen, Kathleen Kennedy was being interviewed, and she was also being asked about the fact that Episode 9 is the end of the Skywalker saga and kind of the end of a story, and she kind of hinted that actually maybe it wasn't. And even if it is, she did say that she's still really excited for all the things that are coming up in the future. So there is more stuff that's going to follow through, you know, one media or another. We don't know, obviously, how heavily Skywalker is going to be themed to that, but we'll wait and see. But what she did say, she specifically used the words new saga. So hopefully that's going to be something. It's been touched on before, the whole idea that there is going to be a new trilogy that she's going to be written, which is going to be set way before Episode 1, about 1,000 years before. And it kind of just goes through really the origins of the Force, the Jedi, the Sith, and how it all came to be. If you know Star Wars canon and you know a lot about the kind of history of it and what I'm talking about, the Old Republic, it's definitely, I think, if that's what they're going to do, it's going to be very cool. And I really hope that Revan is in it, because that's definitely a character I'd love to see in a film. But anyway, that's where we are. These are all the things that came out of Star Wars Celebration, and as I say, we're going to do 3 more videos now for Galaxy's Edge, Episode 9, and The Mandalorian, in whatever order I feel like making them. So stay tuned, and we'll see you guys real soon.